Welcome back to Inside Ambition, a casual news show where we talk about all things Drexel. I'm Alexandra George, and today I am finally back in the studio. Last time I was here, my knees didn't crack when I stood up, and it was still socially acceptable to cough in public. I'm all the wiser now, and I'm no longer advising you against wearing a mask. Roll the clip. Face masks will not protect you from contracting the virus. Do not stock up on masks. It's hot person sitting at a desk summer. And even though I'm infinitely smarter, hotter, and so over fire breathers, I'm still the same Alex George, just with a few gray hairs. But it's safe to say a lot has changed around here. Inside Ambition is adopting a new show model, and we are finally creating content in person. Be sure to keep a lookout for us around campus when we are outside Ambition if you want to be featured on our show. Today, we are talking about the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society and international student employment. But first, I took to the streets to see whether after a global pandemic and a year of creating content, if anyone on campus knows who we are. Hey everybody, it's Alexandra George, and I don't know if you can tell, but for once, I'm not in my bedroom. It's very exciting that I'm out on Lancaster Walk today. Since Drexel's lifted its mask mandate, it's clear to see that campus is alive and thriving. Today we're going to be asking students if they know what Inside Ambition even is. How do you get your Drexel news?
Oh, I get bombarded still in my Drexel email.
Oh no.
So that's okay.
How about you?
Drexel news?
Sometimes it's just like walking around my hall and stuff. I hear a lot like through word of mouth, and especially like in the kitchens or so, if we're cooking together, there's always people talking about events going on.
I don't get news from Drexel.
No news?
No news.
So how do you know what's happening on campus?
I guess I generally don't.
Did you know that Drexel has a television studio?
I actually got to know only through your post on Instagram, but yeah, nothing like through Drexel itself. I know that you post updates regarding Inside Drexel. Is that what it is?
Inside Drexel? Try again.
Inside Ambition?
You got it! What does Inside Ambition mean to you?
Truth be told, nothing. I do not know what that is.
Do you have any idea what TV show you're on right now?
No, I do not.
What would you say if I told you that there's a student news show at Drexel for the students by the students called Inside Ambition, where you could get all your Drexel news in one place?
I did not know that. Be something I watch, probably.
Oh, really? So what do you know about Inside Ambition?
So the couple of videos that I've watched, I know it's like trying to make campus students more aware of what's going on in and around Drexel.
I very specifically remember the bloopers where you're just like, what were you saying, like, social distance for like 3 minutes straight. I remember there, you guys collaborated with Dragonfly.
So are you going to follow us?
Yeah, we'll do.
I'll do when I get home.
I think I am, but I'm going to cross-check and make sure that I do that as soon as possible.
And what kind of content do you want to see us create?
Something better than like regular news channels for sure.
Anything and everything. I just want to know what's going on.
Well, verdict's in. Sounds like nobody's heard of us after a year of making content. Well, at least hopefully one of them will like and subscribe. That's all for today. Now we're back to the studio. Now that you've heard from our dragons out on the streets, we're gonna throw it to our fabulous, cheerful, and spirited Emily to hear about our dragons out on the fields.
Hi, welcome to the place where we talk all things Drexel sports. I'm Emily McAndrews, here to give you the rundown. So it's been a while since you all have had a sports update here on Inside Ambition. So let's do a quick rundown of some of the best moments this spring for our athletes. First, we have more CAA champions. The men's lacrosse team was victorious, defeating Hofstra in the final. As champions, they were headed to the NCAA tournament and faced off against Notre Dame in the first round. The men's lacrosse team ended with a 10-3 overall season. We saw another Drexel appearance in an NCAA tournament this spring for the women's lacrosse team. While they did not win the CAA title, they did earn themselves a spot in the tournament, losing in the first round to Rutgers. With a 13-3 overall season, This was the most single-season wins in the program's history. Now, I'd call that a win. Moving over to the Schuylkill, the men's rowing team continued Drexel's recent tournament success. With top 3 finishes in each regatta over the season, the team was due for a top-notch performance in the national championships. At the IRA championship, Drexel had their best finish in school history as they took home 11th place out of the 31 schools that qualified. As for the ladies, the women's rowing team had a dominant season. They were second place in the CAA championships as seniors Kylie McGee, Juliana Hunt, and Margarita Amahaba received all CAA honors. Now finishing second in each of the last 6 CAA rowing championships, the women's team hopes that next year is the year that they take that next step and become conference champions. On the softball field, the Dragons had a 29-12 record, which was good enough for the second best record in the conference. Infielder Linda Rush had a tremendous season, owning a conference best batting average at an outstanding .491. She won the CAA Player of the Year award. Unfortunately though, the Dragons couldn't get the job done in the tournament, losing to James Madison, who would end up going all the way to the College World Series. On to field hockey, our Dragons definitely had a breakout year. After going 5-6 in the regular season, they were able to clinch a spot in the CAA tournament for the first time since 2016. In the tournament, they fell to JMU 4-3 in an overtime thriller. Throughout the summer, I'll be continuing to update you on all things Drexel sports. See you right here next time.
Next up, we have Liv Jone, aspiring biomedical engineer, editor extraordinaire, and all-around girl boss, reporting on the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society.
I'm Liv Jone, and I'm here with Inside Ambition at the PHS Flower Show at FDR Park. The Flower Show runs every year for 2 weeks in June. This year it was hosted at FDR Park and the theme was habitat.
Hi, I'm Andrew Bunting. I'm Vice President of Public Horticulture at the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society. Historically, the flower show is indoors. You know, for decades it's been at the convention center, but because of the pandemic and health and safety, we decided to come out of doors. We were founded in 1827, so we're the oldest horticultural society in the United States. And we're an institution that really engages the community on many levels. We really want to contribute to the health and well-being of people and citizens and anybody through horticulture. Two years ago, we were contacted by Drexel, and they asked us to help them create a garden at like 32nd and Market. What we wanted to do is to create this kind of a gateway garden, because that is the kind of true gateway to Drexel. One of the things we tried to do was have a lot of plants represented from countries around the world. We were told that Drexel has students from 103 different countries. There's a little stage, so it's also meant to be kind of an interactive space.
If you're interested in the work the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society is doing around Philadelphia, make sure to check them out on Instagram at PHS Gardening. For Inside Ambition, I'm Liv Jone.
Thanks, Liv. That was plant-tastic. Our main story today is about international student employment. Your favorite divas, Eva and Ava, are on the story.
Welcome to Inside Ambition's main segment. My name is Eva, and today we're going to talk about the town hall hosted by the International Students Union at the end of the spring term. Stepping off a plane into a foreign country to pursue a degree is a reality many students have to face. Each year, Drexel welcomes many international students. For the 2020 freshman class alone, out of the 2,322 students, 139 of them hail from different countries. And in total, Drexel boasts over 3,300 international students from 120 different countries. Being an international student is more than just going to classes though. Unknown to most domestic students, there's additional worries about financial responsibilities and just general concerns of being in a new country. The language may be different, the food may taste a little funny, and most prevalent of all, you're not a citizen. At the young and often inexperienced age most students begin their college careers, this of course is an intimidating journey to take. Although Drexel excels in education, sometimes, as brought to light by the ISU panel, they lack the supportive structures international students need. Thankfully, there's an organization on campus called the International Students Union, or ISU. So what is ISU, you might ask? Well, take it from their Vice President, Amin.
ISU, or the International Students Union, is an organization that has been on campus for quite a while now and works generally to make the lives of international students better on campus.
An issue that has been heavily discussed in ISU is the lack of on-campus jobs. Most international students are on an F1 visa, which means they're not permitted to do work study or work off campus. But just like any other college student, they still need extra expendable money outside their tuition money. After understanding and seeing so many expressed concerns about this, ISU, in collaboration with USGA, Drexel Student Government, organized a town hall meeting for Drexel students and Drexel administration to get together and discuss their concerns. And this is where our discussion begins.
So here I am. I thought this was a really interesting topic to be brought to everyone's attention because I myself am not an international student, so it's not quite a perspective I came from. So here I also have Ava discussing the topics with me, so maybe we can talk things out. She was not able to attend the ISU panel, so we're talking about these topics for the first time together. So from going to the ISU panel, I was able to learn that a lot of the issues that are happening stem from the miscommunication or the misunderstanding of what kind of jobs are even available. Something that was brought to the floor during the town hall was that not only is the administration very slow getting back to students, but they often don't know about the issues raised or don't recognize them as an issue. In the case for a job search on campus, it's not that they don't exist, it's either that they're few and far between or they're not advertised, so how would students even find them?
But if international students are dealing with all of these problems when they come to Drexel, shouldn't we have an office that is at least committed to working through these issues and helping international students specifically?
Yes, there actually is. It's called ISSS, the International Students and Scholars Service. But unfortunately, that office has some issues and protocols that just refers students back to that same website that doesn't list all the jobs. So really, international students are left in this unanswered purgatory where they don't have any help.
I find it surprising that the one Drexel institution dedicated to handling international student issues is struggling so much to handle all of these concerns.
Yeah, and that's a good point. The office itself is very skilled in advising students in the nature of getting visas and things like that, but it was pointed out that the system ISSS has in place to help students aren't always used effectively, and that was kind of the point of the panel. For example, the website that exists for international students to go look at on-campus jobs, but the jobs aren't posted there, like we mentioned before, so there's a lot of missed opportunity. An interesting point that was made to me by an international student was that if you're offering a job on campus, it should be required to be put on that website. Because that website isn't just for international students. Even though it's targeted towards them, regular students can find jobs on there as well. So overall, this town hall was a great way for students to go and express their concerns and know that someone's listening to them since the administration was present. There was also this section in the middle of the town hall where students got to give up and give testimonials. This was the largest part and I think the most effective of the panel. So we wanted to show you this first clip just so you could get a feel of some of the issues that the students were dealing with.
Being in this organization or being involved on campus or having friends that are international has shown me how difficult it is as an international student to navigate Drexel University. Be it from getting a job or getting support for your organizations or getting support in any other way or finding opportunities. I think that Drexel can do better and needs to do better in terms of providing these opportunities and solidifying opportunities for international students. I have had people reach out to me from back home and they will ask me as newly accepted students if they can find a way to scrape together the money for tuition for the first year. If they get to campus, will they be able to find some sort of on-campus work opportunity to be able to support themselves, be it buying books, paying rent, or even just getting groceries. And a lot of the times I'm not comfortable with telling these students that, oh, if you come to Drexel, you'll have a good opportunity of finding these jobs, because I've witnessed what my friends have went through. I've seen people struggle to find employment just to pay for basic groceries or to support themselves in the smallest of ways. So when it comes to that, I know that being an international student is not easy, be it navigating the different offices that are supposed to help you, or even finding the information that you need in order to be independent and find those resources and then support yourself.
From the anonymous testimonials and discussions in the town hall, we know that there's been international students who have left Drexel because they weren't able to make the financials work. Getting an on-campus job might not have completely fixed these, but it definitely would have been a stride in the right direction. Because really, as a college student, you're not so much thinking day to day about paying your tuition, you're thinking about how you're gonna buy food, pay rent, go out with friends, etc.
Absolutely. Even if we are able to afford tuition alone, students also have to think about textbooks, rent, food, and even having spending money to go out with your friends, to go out and explore the city. And these are all things that are part of a very typical and meaningful college experience that you can look back on and say that you truly made the most of.
Precisely, and that was a big point that was made at the panel, and obviously that we both recognize. Additionally, international students have another barrier because they can't get work-study jobs because that falls under FAFSA. They need to find jobs that are independent and don't really fall under financial aid. This can be a whole complication in itself. It was mentioned in the panel that international students actually pay more tuition, so not having that extra money can really cause an issue. And getting money from foreign countries can be difficult. Transferring money from another country, you can lose significant amounts because of inflation or exchange rates, etc. So it's a lot easier just to make the money you need in the country you're in. Like here, let's listen to this student example of how the exchange rates have changed so much in 2 years and how it makes her feel.
As one of you had mentioned, the exchange rates. The exchange rate from when I started Drexel to where I am today, which has been over around 2 years now, has gone up by 0.6 or 7. So if you look at it in a sense of, so last year $100 was 270 laris, and this year $100 is 350 laris. If you make that into thousands, which is what Drexel costs, it's a lot of money, and it's a big change from last year to this year. So it would be really helpful for my family, for literally everyone's family in this call, for us to be able to cover some of our own expenses and not to bother our parents as much as we do already. Because I feel like my mom's tired of me calling her every other weekend being like, hey, I know you sent me this much amount last week, but can you send me this because I apparently need to buy this book that my professor just found out that we needed to buy. So can you help me out with that? And books are not cheap. Books are expensive, especially when you're not allowed to do an online book because the professor wants the book to be professor wants you to have a hard copy in class because they want you to take notes from them. They want you to highlight things. So it will be really helpful if we were able to have a part-time job so we could support ourselves and not to put pressure on our families and not to bother them as much as we do.
Another great testimonial, and another excellent example that was brought to the floor by a student, was that they described how the financial transfers require so much paperwork and so much red tape that sometimes it's easier to go with alternative routes.
I just wanted to point something out as well regarding the economic situation back home. So I'm from Nigeria, and one thing that I've noticed that is really difficult for my parents is there's the central bank rates, exchange rates, and there's the black market exchange rates. And it's very hard for my parents to be able to use the central bank exchange rate, which is lower, because it requires so much documentation. They require just so much, and I think they have so many policies and, basically administrative bottlenecks that it's just hard to send money from Nigeria to the US. And so when it comes to simple things like needing to buy textbooks or something like needing to pay my rent, it takes a couple days to get money from my parents because it's just difficult. It's not like they don't want to, they're trying their best, but the situation back home is just not favorable. And I have emailed like multiple offices in Drexel about this, but they said nothing. I even emailed my building. I'm a sophomore, so I have to live on campus. And I emailed my building about this, seeing if they could find like another way for me to pay my rent. And they said they're sorry that there's nothing that they can do to help. And I just wanted to point out that having a job would make this so much easier for me and my parents. Like, it's hard when you want to pay for your textbooks, but you're waiting for your parents to send you money. It's hard when you see all your American friends basically living their best lives in college, and you're limited in what you can do because you don't have any money, you can't work. So it's not like you're lazy, it's not like you're not trying, it's just the limitations that are placed on us are essentially crazy.
So, as you can see from these stories, it would be much more reliable to have an on-campus job. Like some of the students explained, they need the money to travel back home and see their family. Listening to some of the testimonials from the students really put perspective on their struggles that international students are facing.
I think international students, we're amazing. We literally decide to come to a new country, leave everything behind, and start this new path, and it's a struggle. It's a constant struggle, but this struggle gets tiring. Education is a way to improve ourselves, and a lot of the times it's a way to help our families. So we are here not only with that burden, but we also need to do well. We need to make it work. We need to do good at school, take care of our mental health, which is a constant struggle, at least for me it is. And I think we bring a lot to our classes. We not only bring our living experiences, but we also bring this global perspective into our peers that a lot of the times are domestic students. So I think that if we are able to have more opportunities on campus, we will at least be a little less worried on where our next meal is coming or how we're going to pay rent.
It's also interesting to note that international students are supporting not just themselves, but their families through this whole process as well. This education at Drexel is the ticket for students to create a better life and future for themselves, their families, and future generations. Yet, I can imagine it must be very difficult to accomplish such a goal when they aren't being given the tools and opportunities to do so, and for a place that they're going to be living in for the next few years where they can't even go on breaks because they're so far away from their families. Students deserve to feel welcomed and heard.
Ava summed it up nicely. What the international students explained during the panel is that Drexel is their home away from home. They quite literally have to stay here over some of their breaks. And of course, they would love to go back and visit their families, but sometimes not having an on-campus job prevents them from having the money to do so. Not only that, but if they live very far away, sometimes the short breaks don't really make the plane ride worth it. Philadelphia and the Drexel campus really are the place most students call home for 4+ years, so it's hurtful to feel so lost in a place you're supposed to feel so comfortable. This initiative has yielded promising results though. This town hall was a year in the making. ISU and USGA have worked so hard to get this panel in front of people who can actually do something about it. Drexel admin is working on that website to post more jobs for students in the fall and hopefully better market and advertise to international students. This would address the overall concern that even started this town hall meeting. A good suggestion that was made by an international student is that all jobs should be required to be put on that website. Overall, the panel served as a great way for students and administration to get together and actually listen to one another. To Drexel, a large influx of international students may look great on paper, but once students get here, they still feel like they're at a loss. It's great to see that Drexel is taking strides to become more equipped to help these students and follow through on the other issues brought to light. If you want to learn more, Inside Ambition gave an in-depth interview with ISU Vice President Amin and a junior class representative from USGA. You can find that Drexel Update interview on our YouTube channel below. Overall, the panel shed a light on many of the issues plaguing international students today, especially the hardships that come with trying to support yourself in a different country. I hope this discussion was meaningful to you and helped spread awareness of this situation. That's all I have for you today, Dragons. I hope to see you soon. Bye.
It's great to see USGA and ISU banding together so that international students can thrive here at Drexel. Bold of them to attempt so in this job market, but Inside Ambition supports you nonetheless. If you liked today's episode, make sure to let us know in the comments below. And to see more of our lovely faces, follow us on Instagram and subscribe to this channel. And maybe, just maybe, we'll post again sometime soon. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.